Alright guys, we are going to start off today by saying that you have all been in class for a few minutes, you have picked up your warm-up on sum and difference formulas, and we are now going to go over that warm-up. You are not turning this in, you are just going to go over it, make sure you've got it checked and double-checked so that you're set to go. Please remember that I will be back until next class, which is going to be your test review. So, we're going to go over the sum and difference formula warm-up real quick, and then you're going to take your quiz. If you are worried about the sum and difference formulas being on the quiz, they are not. Again, sum and difference formulas are not on the quiz you are taking today. So we're just going to go over these and then move on from that. The quiz does not have anything to do with last night's homework or this morning's warm-up. Alright, so the first thing you need to realize is that when we add pi plus pi over 4, we're going to be splitting it into two separate pieces, and those pieces should involve sine and cosine. So if you will remember from last class, the sine sum formula is sine cosine, cosine sine. And when I say that, I mean sine of the first, so sine of pi, cosine of the second, plus cosine of the first, sine of the second. Now, you're going to rely back on all of that knowledge that you had from last unit to do each piece. So again, the sine, you're using the cosine sine chart, and you should get 0. So in all reality, it doesn't matter what this piece is, because 0 times anything is still going to give you 0. But the cosine of pi over 4 should be 1 over root 2, which you write as root 2 over 2. Then the cosine of pi is negative 1. And the sine of pi over 4 is the same as the cosine of pi over 4. So I have 0 plus negative 1 times that, which is negative root 2 over 2. My overall answer is the square root of 2 over 2, and the whole thing is negative. All right, moving on to the next one. Cosine of 30 minus 90. Now you could look at that and say it was the cosine of negative 60, and sometimes that would work really well for you and other times it wouldn't. So we're going to go ahead and split this up. Remember, cosine sum formula is cosine cosine, sine sine. So as sine, we have sine cosine, cosine sine. For cosine, you keep them together, so cosine with cosine, sine with sine. So we rewrite this as the cosine of 30 times the cosine of 90. And then we're going to add the sine of 30 with the sine of 90. So, with that being said, the cosine of 30, again, you are using your 30, 60, 90 triangle for this. Cosine is adjacent, which adjacent to 30 is root 3. And the hypotenuse is 2. The cosine at 90, that's going straight up, the cosine should be 0. So my entire first term is going to be gone. My second term, on the other hand, the sine of 30, opposite of 30 is 1, the hypotenuse is 2, and the sine of 90 is 1. So all in all, you're going to have just 0 plus 1/2, which is just 1/2. That is how to break up 1 and 2 using the sum and difference formulas. Now, for number 3, you're actually doing a proof with those. If you're looking at the two sides of this equation, you should be realizing that we definitely want to leave this right side alone, and the left side is the one we're going to want to mess with. So, I'm going to split the tangent up using the tangent sum and difference formulas. The tangent sum formula is the tangent of the first plus the tangent of the second over 1 minus tangent of the first times the tangent of the second. And I'm going to leave that right side alone. So, obviously this is theta. Theta is something I don't know. And I can't really solve for that. So it's also convenient because I still have thetas in my answer. So you're gonna leave those pieces alone for now. The first thing you're going to do is figure out what the tangent of pi over 4 is. Now from the root 4, or not root 4, from the 45, 45, 90 triangle, tangent is opposite and adjacent. In that triangle, both are 1. So 1 over 1 here, I end up with tangent theta plus 1 on top. And on the bottom, if that's 1 again, then I have 1 minus tangent theta on the bottom. So again, tangent of pi over 4 is 1, so that's how these two just became 1s. Now, I'm going to convert everything into sine cosine because my answers are in terms of sine cosine. So, sine theta over cosine theta plus 1 over 1 minus sine theta over cosine theta. Now, with this being said, I now have fractions within fractions. We don't like those. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by that denominator I don't want, which is a cosine theta in both instances. So I only have to multiply by the one thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring my work up over here. Cosine times sine over cosine leaves me with sine. Cosine times 1 is cosine. And then cosine times 1 is still cosine. And then cosine times sine over cosine leaves me with sine. And that is what I was trying to get. So that is how that last one works out. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come up and look at a copy of the key. And you guys are going to go ahead and take your quiz.